My friends, today is not just another day, it's the beginning of your new life. The life that your heart has been whispering about, the life your soul has been craving for. You are not here by accident. You are here because the universe, because God wanted you to hear this. Your new chapter begins now, not tomorrow, not someday. Now. Let's pause and look around the audience. Too often, we wait for the perfect time, the perfect chance, or the perfect sign. But what if I told you? God has already given you the sign. The fact that you are breathing, the fact that you are here still standing, still hoping, that is your sign. Your new life starts right here, right now. Every one of us has a story of pain, of waiting, of dreams that didn't come true the way we expected. But life isn't about what happened to us, it's about what we choose to do next. God never promised that the road would be smooth, but He did promise that if you walk with faith, with patience, and with purpose, you will find the strength to start again, stronger, wiser, and more peaceful than before. So today, I'm not asking you to forget your past. I'm asking you to forgive it, to thank it, because every ending that broke you was actually preparing you for a new beginning. This moment, this breath is a gift, a reset button, a sacred invitation from the divine saying, start again. But this time, start with awareness. You cannot start a new chapter if you keep rereading the old one. This truth is so simple, yet it is one of the hardest lessons to live. We hold on to our past not because we love pain, but because it feels familiar. The memories, the mistakes, the people, the what-ifs, they become our invisible prison. We replay them in our minds like an old song, hoping somehow the ending will change. But life doesn't move backward. God doesn't live in our yesterday, He lives in our now. To build a new life, you must first make peace with the old one. Think about it. A person who continues to stare at the closed door will never see the open one right beside it. Sometimes we are so focused on what didn't work out that we miss the beauty of what's waiting to begin. It could be a new relationship, a new opportunity, a new level of peace. But to receive it, you must let go of the heaviness that no longer belongs to you. When you release the pain, you make space for growth. When you stop asking, why me? And start asking, what next? You begin to transform. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean pretending the hurt never happened. It means choosing not to let that hurt define who you are anymore. It means looking at your past, smiling softly, and saying, thank you for the lessons, but I'm ready to move on. Every experience you've had, even the ones that broke you, has shaped you into someone wiser, deeper, and more compassionate. You are not a product of your pain, you are a product of how you rise from it. In daily life, this can be as simple as forgiving a friend who wronged you, not for their peace, but for your own. It can mean deleting old messages that keep your heart stuck in yesterday. It can mean stopping the habit of blaming yourself for things you couldn't control. It's about small, brave acts of surrender, because each time you release something that no longer serves you, you become lighter. And when you're lighter, you can finally fly toward your purpose. Imagine a person carrying a heavy bag full of stones. Each stone represents regret, anger, and fear. The longer they carry it, the slower they move. The world around them keeps changing, but they remain tired, stuck, and burdened. Now imagine that person putting down one stone at a time, forgiving someone, accepting what cannot be changed, releasing the need to prove themselves. With every stone that falls, they feel freer, lighter, and more alive. That's what acceptance does. It doesn't erase the past, it releases its power over you. There's beauty in acceptance. It's the moment when you stop fighting life and start flowing with it. It's the moment when you understand that everything you lost had a divine purpose. Some people left because their part in your story was over. Some plans failed because something better was meant for you. Some seasons ended so you could begin a new one. What's gone was never meant to stay forever. And what's meant for you will always find its way once you're ready to receive it. When you choose acceptance, you stop seeing your past as punishment and start seeing it as preparation. Every closed door was directing you to a better one. Every tear watered the seed of strength inside you. Every failure was just a redirection toward the path God had written for your soul. You see, God doesn't waste pain. He transforms it. He uses it to polish your heart, to deepen your understanding, and to awaken your spirit. Look at the flowers in the garden. They bloom after the storm. The rain that once seemed harsh becomes the very reason they stand tall. In the same way, the storms of your life have not destroyed you, they've nourished you. You may not see it yet, but deep inside, you are growing roots of patience, faith, and resilience. One day, you'll look back and realize that what once broke you was actually building you. In your everyday life, practice this awareness. When something doesn't go your way, instead of saying, "Why did this happen to me?" try saying, "What is this trying to teach me?" That single shift in perspective can change your entire life. It turns pain into power and confusion into clarity. Suddenly, even your struggles start to make sense. They become part of your growth, part of your divine story. And remember, moving on is not an overnight act. It's a journey. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll stumble back into old thoughts. That's okay. Healing is not about never falling. It's about rising each time with a little more wisdom. Each morning, remind yourself, today I choose peace. Today I choose to start again. Because life will always give you another sunrise, another chance, another beginning. When you accept the old, you unlock the new. You become free to love again, to dream again, to live fully in the present. You begin to understand that you were never broken. You were simply being reshaped. The cracks in your heart allowed the light to enter. And that light, once you embrace it, becomes your greatest strength. So don't fear the end of a chapter. It's not the end of your story. It's the pause before a more beautiful beginning. Turn the page with gratitude, with faith, and with a gentle smile, because the moment you stop rereading what's gone, you'll realize something powerful. Your new life was waiting all along. All it needed was your willingness to let go and move forward. In a world filled with endless noise, constant notifications, and the pressure to always be seen, silence has become one of the rarest forms of strength. We live in a time where people measure their worth by how busy they appear or how loud their voice can be. But in that rush, we often forget the most sacred truth. Silence is not emptiness, it is the language of God. It is within silence that we meet our true selves. It is in the still moments that we hear the gentle whisper that guides our purpose, heals our wounds, and reminds us who we are. Most people fear silence because they've never learned to sit with it. The moment the noise fades, their thoughts start echoing, the regrets, the insecurities, the things left unsaid. But that's exactly where growth begins. Silence doesn't create those thoughts, it simply reveals them. It shows you the clutter you've been carrying in your mind and heart, so you can finally begin to clear it. Silence is not your enemy, it's your mirror. And in that mirror, You begin to see the truth of what needs to be healed, forgiven, or released. Think about it. When the world is noisy, you can't hear your own heartbeat. When everyone around you is speaking, you can't hear what your soul is trying to say. That's why silence is sacred. It connects you to a deeper dimension of life, the place where God speaks not in words, but in feelings, in peace, in quiet clarity. Every great decision, every moment of inner awakening is born in silence. Imagine sitting near a calm lake early in the morning. The air is still. The water reflects the sky like a mirror. There's no sound, no rush, just peace. In that moment, you can feel something greater than yourself. A presence that doesn't need to speak to be felt. That's what silence gives you. It reconnects you with the divine rhythm of existence. It slows down your heartbeat and aligns it with the heartbeat of the universe. In daily life, silence can be as simple as turning off your phone for a few minutes, closing your eyes, and taking a deep breath. It can mean watching the sunrise without posting it online. It can mean listening, truly listening, to someone without waiting for your turn to reply. When you make space for silence, you create room for understanding. You begin to see the small miracles that noise often hides: the sound of the wind, the smile of a stranger, the warmth of sunlight through your window. These are not small things, they are the gentle ways in which life whispers, "I'm here." Silence also teaches patience. In moments of chaos, when everything feels uncertain, silence is the pause between reaction and wisdom. When you choose not to speak in anger, not to respond out of fear, but to sit quietly and breathe, you allow God's wisdom to enter. And often, in that pause, the answers you were chasing suddenly appear. Not because the situation changed, but because your perception did. Silence calms the storm inside, and when the storm is calm, you can see clearly again. In our relationships too, silence has power. Sometimes love doesn't need words. A quiet presence, a gentle look, or simply being there without saying anything can mean more than 1,000 explanations. Silence gives space for understanding, for empathy, for connection beyond language. When two people can share silence comfortably, that's when real peace exists between them. Many times we pray and feel like our prayers go unanswered. But the truth is, God's answers often come wrapped in silence. When things don't go your way, when life seems still, it doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something sacred is growing behind the scenes. The seed doesn't make noise when it becomes a tree. The heart doesn't make noise when it learns to heal. Growth is silent. Transformation is silent. God works in silence because He doesn't need to prove His power. His presence itself is enough. Try this in your daily routine. Before starting your day, sit for 5 minutes in complete silence. No music, no phone, no distractions. Just breathe. Feel the air entering your lungs, the life moving through you. That silence will ground you, calm you, and remind you that you don't need to chase peace. Peace is already within you. During your day, whenever you feel overwhelmed, close your eyes and find that same silence for a few seconds. You'll notice how problems seem smaller and clarity returns. Silence is also where creativity is born. Every idea, every invention, every piece of art first lived in silence, in someone's still moment of imagination. That quiet space allows the mind to rest and the soul to speak. It's not laziness, it's alignment. When you sit in silence, you're not wasting time, you're preparing your spirit for what's next. In life, you'll meet people who speak loudly but say very little. And you'll meet others who speak softly, yet their words touch your soul. The difference is depth, and depth is born in silence. Silence gives you depth. It makes your words meaningful, your presence peaceful, and your actions purposeful. When you come from silence, everything you do carries power because it's guided not by ego, but by awareness. So learn to embrace silence. Don't fill every gap with noise or distraction. Let there be spaces in your life where nothing is said, but everything is felt. In those spaces, you'll find strength, wisdom, and the voice of the divine whispering softly, "Be still. You are exactly where you're meant to be." Because sometimes the loudest answer from God is not a voice, but a peace that fills your heart when you finally stop searching and simply listen. We live in a world where control feels like safety. We plan every detail, chase every goal, and hold tightly to how we think life should unfold. But no matter how carefully we plan, life has its own rhythm, a rhythm that often moves differently than our expectations. Sometimes, what we call delay is actually divine timing. What we call rejection is redirection, and what we call loss is protection. There's a deeper intelligence guiding your path, one that sees what you cannot see. To let go of control is not weakness, it's trust. It's surrendering your limited understanding to a wisdom far greater than your own. Think about how many moments in life didn't go the way you wanted, but later turned out to be exactly what you needed. Maybe you didn't get the job you dreamed of, only to find a better opportunity that brought more peace and balance. Maybe someone walked out of your life, leaving you heartbroken, but that very loss helped you discover your own strength and self-worth. At the time, it felt like everything was falling apart. But in truth, everything was falling into place. That's how divine timing works. It doesn't rush, it doesn't delay. It simply unfolds when the soul is ready. The more we try to control everything, the more anxious we become. We worry about outcomes, we obsess over people's opinions, we fear failure. But control is just an illusion, a fragile comfort we hold on to avoid uncertainty. Life will not always go according to our plans, but it will always go according to a higher plan. Trusting that plan is what frees you from the constant need to manage every little thing. It doesn't mean you stop working hard or stop caring. It means you do your best, and then you allow life to take care of the rest. When you let go of control, you begin to see that not everything needs to happen immediately. We are often in such a rush to reach the destination that we forget to experience the journey. We compare our timing to others and wonder why they seem ahead while we're still waiting. But a flower does not bloom by comparing itself to another, it blooms when its season comes. The same applies to your life. You cannot rush divine timing. When the time is right, things will fall into place in ways you never could have orchestrated yourself. In daily life, this trust shows up in the smallest ways. When you're stuck in traffic and feel impatient, maybe life is protecting you from an unseen accident ahead. When a door closes unexpectedly, maybe it's because the next one will open wider than you ever imagined. When someone disappoints you, maybe it's so you learn to stop depending on others for your happiness. There's a lesson hidden behind every pause, every setback, every unanswered prayer. But you can only see it when you stop fighting against it. Trusting God's timing doesn't mean life becomes easy. It means you stop resisting what's happening and start flowing with it. It means replacing "why me" with "what is this teaching me?" And when will it happen? With "I know it will happen at the right time." That small shift in mindset changes everything. Because when you trust, you stop living in fear. And when fear leaves, peace enters. Imagine holding a seed in your hand. You plant it, water it, and wait. You don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust that it's doing what it's meant to do, even when you can't see the progress. That's how faith works. You plant your efforts, you nurture your dreams, and you trust that the universe is working silently beneath the surface. You may not see results today, but one morning you'll wake up and realize the seed has become a tree. Letting go of control also means accepting that not everything will make sense right away. Some seasons of life will confuse you. Some moments will hurt. But if you look back on your past, you'll see a pattern. Every difficulty shaped you. Every delay refined you. Every loss pushed you closer to who you were meant to become. Nothing was wasted. Every moment was necessary for your growth. That's how God works, not in straight lines, but in perfect circles that bring you back to yourself. In your daily journey, you can practice this trust in small ways. When your plans fall apart, instead of panicking, take a deep breath and say, maybe this is happening for me, not to me. When someone misunderstands you, resist the urge to prove yourself. Let time and truth reveal your intentions. When things feel uncertain, remind yourself, if it's meant for me, it will come. If it's not, something better will. That mindset doesn't just bring peace, it brings strength. The kind of strength that comes from knowing that even when you can't see the path is still being prepared for you. Letting go of control doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what you can and trusting God with what you can't. It's the balance between effort and faith. You move forward, but you don't force. You plan, but you remain flexible. You dream, but you release the outcome. And in that release, you find freedom, because you realize you were never supposed to carry the weight of the world alone. Sometimes the most powerful prayer is not asking for things to change, but saying, God, I trust your plan more than my expectations. When you reach that place, life starts to flow again. You no longer chase what isn't meant for you, you attract what is. You no longer fear what's ahead, you walk with calm confidence, knowing that every step is guided. So if life feels uncertain right now, take a deep breath and let go. Stop trying to control what you can't. Trust the process, trust the timing, trust the one who sees the full picture. Because every time you release control, you make space for miracles to happen. And one day, when you look back, you'll realize that what felt like delay was actually preparation, and what you thought was the end was just the beginning of something far more beautiful. Your peace is sacred. Not everyone deserves access to it. In life, you will meet people who bring light and people who drain it. You will experience moments that uplift you and others that test your patience, your kindness, and your emotional balance. Protecting your inner energy is not about isolating yourself from the world. It's about learning to be wise about where you give your attention, your time, and your heart. Just like you lock your home to keep it safe, you must learn to protect your mind and soul from what doesn't serve your growth. Every day, you wake up with a certain amount of energy. You decide where it goes, toward peace or toward chaos. But often, without realizing it, we waste it on unnecessary battles. We argue to prove our worth, chase people who don't value us, or dwell on things we cannot change. Each of those choices drains us. Protecting your energy means stepping away from that cycle and choosing peace over drama, understanding over reaction, and silence over argument. It's realizing that not everything deserves a response, and not every situation deserves your presence. Think of your inner energy like a garden. If you water it with love, patience, and gratitude, it will bloom beautifully. But if you constantly allow negativity, complaints, and toxic influences to enter, the garden starts to wither. Protecting your energy is like guarding that garden gate. You decide who and what enters. You decide what stays and what leaves. It's not selfish, it's self-respect. Because peace is not something you find, it's something you build, protect, and nurture daily. In your daily life, this could mean walking away from a conversation that's going nowhere but down. It could mean setting boundaries with people who constantly bring problems but never solutions. It could mean choosing to spend time alone rather than being surrounded by those who drain your spirit. It could mean turning off the noise of social media to reconnect with your inner stillness. Every time you choose peace over chaos, you honor your soul. You remind yourself that your happiness is your responsibility. Sometimes people mistake kindness for weakness. They think that because you listen, you agree. Because you forgive, you forget. But protecting your energy means learning the art of balance, being kind, but not a doormat, being compassionate, but not taken for granted. You can care deeply for others and still say no when it costs your peace. You can love people from a distance if being close to them disrupts your inner calm. That's maturity. When you realize you can't control others, but you can control what you allow. In real life, we often find ourselves drained not because we're doing too much, but because we're doing too much for the wrong things. We give energy to worries that haven't even happened yet, to opinions that don't matter, to people who wouldn't do the same for us. Protecting your energy means shifting that focus back to what truly matters. It means investing in yourself, in your growth, your dreams, your peace. Because when your cup is full, you can pour into others with love. But when it's empty, even kindness becomes heavy. Let's say you have a friend who always complains, always focuses on what's wrong, and never tries to change it. You listen, you advise, you comfort. But after every conversation, you feel drained. That's your energy being pulled away. Protecting your energy doesn't mean abandoning that person. It means recognizing your limits. You can listen with compassion, but you don't have to absorb their negativity. You can support someone without carrying their emotional baggage. The moment you understand that difference, your peace begins to return. Energy protection also means being mindful of your thoughts. The loudest voice in your life is not someone else's. It's your own inner dialogue. What you think, you feel. What you feel, you become. So guard your thoughts like precious seeds. Don't let fear, comparison, or bitterness take root. When negative thoughts arise, don't fight them. Observe them and let them pass. Replace them with gratitude, hope, and understanding. Your inner world creates your outer world, so nurture it with care. In your daily routine, start small. Begin your morning in quiet reflection instead of scrolling through chaos. Speak affirmations that remind you of your strength and purpose. When someone tries to provoke you, pause and choose not to respond from ego. When life gets loud, step back and breathe. Remember that you don't owe everyone your energy, your explanation, or your emotional space. You owe yourself peace. And peace is found when you stop letting everything outside you control everything inside you. There will be times when walking away feels hard, when saying no feels cold, when choosing yourself feels selfish. But remind yourself, you cannot give light if your flame keeps burning out. You cannot heal others if you are constantly wounded. Protecting your energy allows you to keep shining, to keep giving, to keep loving from a place of wholeness rather than exhaustion. The truth is, peace is not something that others can hand to you. It's a state you create within and defend with grace. Some people will not understand your silence, your distance, or your calm, and that's okay. You're not living to be understood, you're living to be aligned. When your energy is balanced, your mind becomes clear, your heart becomes gentle, and your life begins to flow naturally. You start to attract people and situations that match your vibration. Those who bring warmth, positivity, and authenticity into your space. So protect your inner energy like it's the most precious treasure you have, because it is. It's the foundation of your happiness, the source of your strength, and the reflection of your connection with the divine. Don't waste it on arguments that don't matter, on people who only take, or on worries that steal your peace. Your energy is sacred. Guard it wisely, nurture it daily, and let it shine brightly in a world that desperately needs more light. Discipline is the bridge between dreams and reality. Every person dreams of a better life, more peace, more success, more fulfillment. But dreams alone don't build the future. Consistent action does. Discipline is that invisible power that transforms own day into day one. It's not about perfection, it's about persistence. It's the art of doing what needs to be done, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is not punishment, it's self-respect. It's the quiet promise you make to yourself every morning that no matter how hard it gets, you'll keep moving forward. So many people wait for motivation to strike before they start. But motivation comes and goes. Discipline is what remains when motivation fades. You may not always wake up inspired, but you can wake up committed. That's where the transformation begins, in the small, consistent choices that nobody sees. It's waking up a little earlier to pray or reflect, even when your body wants more sleep. It's reading something positive instead of scrolling through negativity. It's taking care of your health when it's easier to make excuses. These small acts repeated daily become habits, and those habits shape your destiny. In daily life, discipline looks different for everyone. For some, it's controlling the tongue and choosing silence over arguments. For others, it's sticking to a routine, finishing what they start, or managing time wisely. But at its core, discipline means saying no to your comfort zone and yes to your higher purpose. Think about it. Every time you resist distraction, you build strength. Every time you push through laziness, you strengthen your willpower. And with every act of discipline, you remind yourself that your dreams matter more than your excuses. Take the example of a person who wants to get healthier. The first few days of exercising are filled with excitement, but soon the mind starts resisting. It's too early. I'm tired. One day off won't matter. That's where most people stop. But those who push through that resistance discover something magical. The very thing they once hated becomes the source of their energy. That's what discipline does. It transforms pain into progress. It turns routine into rhythm. It teaches you that success doesn't belong to the strongest or the smartest. It belongs to those who simply don't give up. Discipline also builds self-trust. Every time you follow through on what you said you'd do, you strengthen your belief in yourself. You start to realize that you can rely on your own word. You stop depending on others to push you, praise you, or remind you. You become your own guide, your own motivator. And when you trust yourself, confidence naturally follows. You no longer wait for the perfect time to act. You create the time. You stop waiting for opportunities. you prepare for them. Because preparation is what turns opportunity into success, and discipline is what makes preparation possible. In the spiritual sense, discipline connects you to your higher self. It brings order to your inner world. Just as the sun rises and sets with precision, your life also begins to align when you create rhythm and consistency. Whether it's through meditation, prayer, journaling, or acts of kindness, discipline in spiritual practice deepens your connection with the divine. It reminds you that growth is not about intensity, but consistency. Even a few minutes of reflection every day can bring more peace than hours of chaos once a week. But discipline is not about being hard on yourself. It's not about being perfect every day. It's about being patient with your journey. Some days you'll fall, that's normal. What matters is that you rise again. The power of discipline lies in recovery, in the ability to start again after you've stopped. Failure is not the end, it's simply